and you're like, you gotta spell that. I'm gonna mess that up so bad.
Let's do FL.
But Horton Horkin, I'm still telling the story of signing your name on an item.
Let's see. I gotta know, what were the auditions like for voicing Goku and Rolf?
Oh, very cool. It's a good question. For Goku, my buddy, who remains my good friend now, Ian Corlett, had done the voice prior to me. So me and Ian have a similar cadence, similar volume. I think I may be a little bit lower in register, a little bit. So we've worked together many times. We've auditioned against each other many times. Sometimes he get it, sometimes I get it. So he was doing the character, and he left for for whatever reasons that he left the role. So they asked me to read for it, and I guess they liked what I did. I was in a similar register, and then I got the role, and off we went. For Rolf, little different. I read for every single male character on the show, every single one. Ed, Eddie, Double D, all of them. Nothing. Kevin, nothing. Johnny, nothing. I was done. I was not getting hired on the show. And a female friend of mine, another voice actress, was going down to audition for the show. And literally, I just happened to be there outside of the studio. And Terry Clausen ran outside and he goes, "Hey, Kelamis," and I'm still buddies with him too to this day. He goes, "We got a new character, this foreign kid. They want an accent that you can't really pinpoint. Here are it was literally like, here's the sides, take it, look at it." And I had like 5 minutes with it, and I ran in and I was like, "Oh, hello, Ed boys," and they're like, "Yeah, that works." And then, it was a gig for the next like 11 years.
So now is it? Well, I'm not even ask because you can hear it. It's so easy for Rolf to come out. But like I said, it's like muscle memory. I guess it's like easy.
Yeah.
For now, because it's like muscle memory. But when you're creating the voice, leading up to creating the voice is probably one of the, harder parts of creating that voice and giving it life, I would say.
Yeah, a lot of people say, another question that may even come up, they say, did you get to improvise lines for Rolf? Absolutely not. The creator of the show, Danny Antonucci, was very precise with both the delivery of the lines and both the lines themselves. You could not deviate really at all. So what I did was threw in little Rolf isms, like a schlaher, hink, schlaher, to the point where when they would direct me after some time, they would just say, "Okay, can you just do the line and then give us a schlaher?" So I integrated myself into the script by kind of screwing around, which I tend to do.
Awesome. Have you done work with Ian or Kirby Moro?
Moro after Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, I mean, we were both from the same city, Vancouver, and so we would see each other a lot. Kirby Moro came to my stag in Vegas. That's all I can tell you about that. That's whatever happens in Vegas, we know that's. But this happened in Vegas. At one point during the day, I don't know what happened on the way there. It's one of these things where everybody starts doing something stupid and you continue. So we started doing these talking is the Scottish accent all day, right? And they go going into bars like, "All right, 2 scotches, let's go, Scotland!" Awesome. All day we didn't stop, and we were going to another bar, and somebody had the great idea. It's like, why wait for a taxi or a limo? Somebody said, "Hey, take the bus. It's like 50 cents," and we're like, "That's great, Scotland!" So we all poured onto the bus, and then we're continuing doing our Scottish. We're like, "All right, where are you going to? What are you going to?" Suddenly, I'm not kidding, there's a pack of older ladies that are all Scottish, and they turn to us and they go, "We're from Scotland. Are you from?" "Oh, look, ladies! Hello, Scottish, lovely ladies!" And they invited us to a dance. We didn't take them up on the dance.
One of us.
They're like, "You're one of us. Come with us. We'll slaughter a lamb." And we hit it off with the Scottish ladies, but we got off the bus and we never saw them again. But I'm sure they had a great time, and it was great conversing with them and acting stupid with them.
Let's see. What was your favorite line as Rolf?
My favorite line is Rolf. I get this question a lot, and there's many of them. And literally, there's sites dedicated to Rolf quotes, and sometimes I go back to them, and I forget the line. Once I read it, I remember doing it, but there's so many. But my favorite is
do not burn the candle at both ends, as it leads to the life of a hairdresser.
To this day I don't know what it means. You know, nobody. It's like, hey, come on, don't do that, or you're going to become a hairdresser. Like that's a bad thing. I don't know. It's a pretty good gig, I think, hairdressing. But there was when we would get to the studio and we would do a full read through with the whole cast. You know, when we first got there, and Erin Fitzgerald was the worst because she. I mean, I had like home run balls pitched to me all the time with Rolf. It was like just pitching me gold, these lines. But Erin couldn't control herself. Like just the laughter, just cackles, just even during takes. I'd be doing my take, and out of the corner of my eye, I just saw her doing this, and then you know we'd end the take, and then she'd just blow, like she couldn't stop. But we had so much fun doing that show. Originally, they would record us with everybody in the room, all the characters. And we get into so much trouble that eventually they said, no, we're going to split you up.
I saw videos on, I think there's like
I've told this story. Yeah. We got in so much trouble. They split us up and they said the Eds are going to record in one session and then we're going to bring the rest of you in after that. So that's what they did. It didn't help at all. We still had way more fun. We just had more room in the studio to have fun.
Awesome. All right, guys, we're going to do a couple more Funkos.
Oh, look at this. Signing any Happy Gilmore items. We didn't have any Happy Gilmore. That's okay. So here's the thing: the Happy Gilmore. I just heard they're making Happy Gilmore 2.
Where the script. Know about Happy Gilmore.
Happy Gilmore 2. They just announced that I think the script is done. So what happened with Happy Gilmore is I auditioned a bunch of times, and I was in the running for a role, and then I got a call. My agent called, and he goes, "Oh, they want, you know, here. Oh, here's a more inside story. I was reading for the part of Joe Flaherty's character. That hey." Gilmore, you jackass! I read for that role 3-4 different times. And it looked like I was going to get it. And then I didn't get it. And I didn't find out who got it until I was on set. And then Joe Flaherty, who just passed away, you know, God rest his soul, genius, hilarious from SCTV fame, among other things. So he ended up doing that role. But they called me and they said, they want to read you and you're going to read for the role on set. Because they already started filming the movie. So they invited me down to Stanley Park in Vancouver. It was a famous park. It's like kind of like Central Park in New York, but Vancouver's version of it. Beautiful park. And at lunch, they handed me the script, and I was there with Dennis Dugan, the director, and I auditioned next to a tree in the park. Outside, beautiful day. People were walking by wondering what was happening. And I did my scene in front of the tree, and then I got the role of Potter's caddy, so Kevin Nealon's caddy. Wow. So I was his caddy in the movie, and I had lines, I had scenes with Sandler. Now, if the site is still active, I haven't been to it recently. If you go to the Happy Gilmore site, you can click on deleted scenes, and they have my scenes on there. So I had a scene with Sandler and his caddy in the caddy's clubhouse, which is it was a big 2-person scene with me and Sandler that I thought was pretty funny, but it got cut out of the movie. But you can see it there. You can see the deleted scene there. So there I wasn't Happy Gilmore. I was on set when Bob Barker was there, and they had the big fight scene. And I think the fight scene got elongated because I was supposed to work that day. I was there all day, and they never got to me because I think the fight scene they kept adding and adding and adding, and it just, you know, and it's one of the most famous hysterical scenes in film now, the Bob Barker fight scene.
Awesome scene.
But I remember being there that day, and it was a pretty cool experience. Kevin Nealon, by the way, one of the nicest people in the world.
I don't know. Yeah. I learned something today. I didn't know anything about the Happy Gilmore. That's awesome. Before your work on Dragon, I don't know. Was Happy Gilmore before your work? No. Dragon Ball Z?
No, it would have been it.
Right.
Oh, you know what?
After?
It was very close to that time. It may have been the same time. I have to check the date. Myself.
Yeah. All right, guys. We're gonna do Silly Trance. This is your Funko, and she Too Silly and Fluorescent Pen.
That's what we're writing.
Too Silly.
Too Silly. Got it.
And then the Fluorescent.
Fluorescent. Okay.
Sock check, homie Pete. Sock check, homie Pete. Sheesh. see.
There you go, silly. Thank you very much.
All right, next up is JDT with I Am the Light in the Darkness.
I am the light in the darkness. You got it.
Was Adam Sandler a nice guy?
He was a nice guy. And I had to pinch myself because at one point I was driving in the golf cart, getting shuttled to set, and it was Kevin Nealon, Adam Sandler, and me in the golf cart. And I was kind of pinching myself because I was such a SNL fan. And I was like, what is happening? This is so cool. I don't think I said anything because I was so nervous, but they were both great guys. So it was I Am the Light in the Darkness, correct?
I Am the Light in the Darkness.
Gotcha.
Artemis, we got one. We're going to do your other one in a bit. Dogster is asking, have you ever met Akira Toriyama Sensei?
I have not. Or I never did get to. I that would have been a dream of mine. And again, God rest his soul as well. Recently passed away, and I had done I recently did a cameo because I do cameos from time to time, and it was shortly after he passed away, and it was a father whose son was a huge Dragon Ball Z fan, and he was so torn up about it that the dad booked a cameo for me to just say a few words. And I didn't, in cameos, a lot of times you prepare something, you want to do something special. I didn't prepare anything at all. I just kind of spoke from the heart and sent it in. And I remember one of the things I said was, if you're sad, somebody told me a quote once. They say when something like that happens, or something that you think is bad happens, it's don't be sad that it happened. Don't be sad that it's over. Be happy that it happened. And he happened, and he left this library of things that you can enjoy now that he's not here. I mean, let's face it, Dragon Ball is an incredible franchise and continues probably stronger today than it ever has been. It's amazing. There's videos to see. There's manga to read.
It's inspired everybody who's created.
Yeah, and it's all this treasure trove of stuff is left for us. So consider ourselves lucky.
Awesome.
I do.
Yeah, it's awesome. Dylan Jones. So it's 2 Dylan J on the side window, and then I Am the Super Saiyan Son Goku on the front.
You got it.
Adam is asking, who influenced your voice for Goku?
Well, you know what? Like I said, Ian Corlett had done it before me, but every time I recorded, we had headphones in the studio, and we were recording directly off of the Japanese track. So I had Nozawa's voice track in my headphones. So whenever I did a line, they'd play her first, and so I was recording directly off of her. So, which is kind of cool to be able to say now, because it's like, so we were like the originals that came from Japan, and we were the first people to translate it into English.
So you gave it the first English.
Yeah. So it's like, it went from her to my ears and then out of my mouth. And, we would alter lines sometimes because the voice flaps did not always match the dialogue that they had written. So a lot of times we had to change it ever so slightly, but in Japanese it was like, or in English, that the voice flap would go like that far, and then Japanese it was like, hey, and you had to make adjustments, so it looked, not just sounded good, but it had to look good too. Oh wait, no, sorry.
Oh,
to Dylan,
to
side
Dylan.
window. To
Oh,
Dylan J. Oh, see, I
ooh.
almost forgot. Dylan would have fired up.
We got you, Dylan.
We got it.
Let's see. Joker is asking, how would Rolf use Kaioken on the Ed Boys?
Kaio 10 times 10! Were you born in a cave?
Something like that.
That's awesome. SCHPLEEJ with Kamehameha.
All right.
And signature character name.
And it's not, it's okay. Come on, yeah. All right.
Fluorescent. We'll do fluorescent.
Fluorescent.
Yeah.
Okay. The fluorescent pens, that's orange. That's orange.
Yeah, we got to talk to Sakura Pen Touch and be like, hey,
I'm gonna call these people.
like we need
a
a larger label.
colors on the side.
And then the caps are also difficult to open sometimes.
There we go.
That's awesome. Artemis Tavern, your Funko is next, and this says
Artemis 2.0.
Artemis 2.0.
All right.
I am the protector of the innocent.
All right.